Welcome to the Big Fat Real Estate Checks podcast with Marco Kozlowski, where we help investors like you get the knowledge and skills you need to replace your JOB with passive cash flow for life.
Hey, Marco here. I really wanted to share with you our earlier podcasts that we created. Now, our mics were not the best, but the content was really strong, and I know you will learn a lot. We had an absolute blast recording this, and I know you're absolutely going to love it as much as we loved recording it. This extremely content-rich information will not only give you the edge in your real estate investing business, but in everyday life. Enjoy.
G'day. I'm here today with my fellow Canadians. Gabriel, and we got Frank. Hey, and all of us are Canadian. And today we're going to talk about mentorship, how to find a good mentor. Now, this is in no way, shape, or form a plug to try to get me to mentor you. I'm extremely selective as to who I work with, and it might be a good fit and it might not be a good fit. But I believe everyone should get a mentor, someone that is has walked the path, has been there, a sensei, someone, a Yoda, someone that can show you the ways of the Force and really help you save as much time as possible, full time, and get you to where you want to go as quickly as possible. And there are some traits that you should be looking for in a mentor, and there's some traits that you should be looking in yourself as well to see if you are coachable, because not everyone is coachable. You might want a mentor. We tell you what to do, and you know everything. That is definitely not someone that I'm going to work with ever, no matter how much I'm paid. So that's why we have a pre-screening process to see if you're coachable, if you're really willing to do what it takes and not a complainer. So those are kind of the things that I look for. If you're someone that complains a lot, that's an excuse-driven individual, can't do this because I can't do that, because I can't do this because I can't do that. Those are excuses. They're not reasons. They're excuses. So
you can get a mentor for that, though.
You can,
yeah.
Yes,
to
change your mindset, to help you out, and we actually have a couple episodes on those things, so maybe watch those. But definitely, working on yourself is the best investment, period. Because once you learn something, you can never unlearn that. Once a mind is expanded, it can never go back into its original position. So the more you learn, you can't unlearn being a doctor. You can't unlearn, being a lawyer or the law or things that you learn in life. You can't unlearn those things.
You may forget a few things here and there, but you can't unlearn. It's like riding a bike, right? Well, you haven't ridden a bike for years. Once you get on it, you know how to ride a bike.
Exactly. And in every new skill set will allow you to generate a lot more income. And a mentor in all walks of life will be very helpful. You go to the gym, you want to learn how to use the equipment properly and get motivated, you're going to find someone to help you out, a personal trainer. You want to learn how to fly a plane, you're going to hopefully learn from someone that's flown a plane, not just in a simulator, but actually in real life.
Or an Xbox. The simulators on Xbox.
Yeah, but do you want to really learn from an Xbox? And go
No, that's what I'm saying.
Good luck.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. It's a one-way flight.
But it's not just about generating income.
It's a one.
Yeah.
I don't think it's just about generating extra income. I mean, that's going to happen. It's inevitable. But what's more important is avoiding huge income losses, because recovering from a large income loss is a lot more difficult than creating more income. And I think that's really when you learn from someone's mistakes. They usually spend a lot of money, or it costs them a lot of money to learn those mistakes. So sharing them with you is going to be a huge advantage.
Yeah, you know what? In my life, I had and you think about it. Everyone had a mentor at one. In their whole life, their teachers are mentors.
Parents are mentors.
Yeah. So with their parents now going out to get a mentor, I had a coach that personal development. I was my head was cloudy and wasn't thinking straight, and I wanted someone to help me with my personal development. That was actually my very first coach.
Got married.
I got mentored. Got married. Yeah. Well, yeah. But seriously, on a serious note, coaches come in various forms. Like, teams have coaches. Mm-hmm. So one of my first one was a personal development, just to help me think clearer, how to behave, how not to make excuses, things like that. Then my other coach, I had a business coach to help me grow my legal business. And it's someone that's been there. It was a veteran that did consultation for like huge companies, Fortune 500 companies like Lever Brothers or whatever. Some of them are not cheap, and some of them are, and some of them are modest. But I wanted someone to get me out of that spot where it's like, how do I leverage my time? How do I leverage my business where I can have that financial freedom? So that was one of my first coaches, and then Marco, you were my third. But not the least, but third in terms of I wanted to.
You got sloppy thirds.
Well,
I was kind of your fourth because you went to someone else
actually,
first.
oh my goodness, you're right. I did. I went to actually many real estate seminars because that's what we wanted to get into. We wanted to get into a different business, and real estate we thought was the vehicle. I'm not going to get into that story, but you're right. I did go to other coaches.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't retain them. I did retain one though. Just before you, and I was so stoked to go, and I was like, let's do it, we're good. And he canceled. We got our money back. He canceled for whatever reason. Hopefully everything was okay. Personal reasons, I don't know. He said no, he's not doing it. It's like, I'll wait. And they go, no, he's just giving the money back. I go, what? I hope he's okay, but I'll just wait, man. It's okay, I'll wait. And he's like, no, here's your money back. Like, I was fighting them for not to get my money back because I really wanted to. Because once you took that leap, you did.
You're in. Yeah. Once you jump in, you're in. Yeah.
I wanted it so bad, and I was like, man. And you know what? I'm kind of glad it played out. My wife says things happen for a reason, and I'm kind of glad because I wouldn't have met you. And when I saw you present, I'm like, damn. I want him. I was like, and what gravitated to us to you is not only that you, because the other seminars that I went to, it's people that are on the stage. They know how to speak. They're sellers. But they're not the ones coaching you, or they're not the ones actually doing the actual work, the nuts and bolts what you're teaching. And you were kind of ballsy, man. I gotta admit, like the shit you did on stage live, I go, okay, this could go. He could look like a real hero if this pans out. He was literally making live calls on our calls. We just gave him the number. Here, pull this guy, motherfucker. Let's see what you do. And he actually did it. And then I realized that you're not only. Yes, you were the coach, the mentor, but you were actually in this business. You were doing it.
Yep.
You were just sharing your knowledge of wealth with others. You're like, you know what? I'm in this business. Might as well share with others. Let's flourish together.
That's important in that when you're selecting a mentor in whatever industry you're looking to get into, make sure that the person mentoring you has been there and is actually still doing what they're teaching because, well, for two reasons. One, there's a lot of theorists out there, people who just understand the theory and are just re-spinning it out, basically like teachers. You go to school, you learn from someone else how to practice law, but a lot of them don't even practice law anymore. So they don't even know if they're still accurate. Certain rules change. Everything evolves, right? Even in our
they don't even know where the courthouse is.
Right. Well, just because someone has been doing something for 25 years, I've heard this before. I've been teaching for 25 years, been doing this for 30 years, but they've been doing the same year for 30 years.
Yeah.
I don't. You know what I mean?
Oh my goodness,
it's the same thing
I had
for 30
a professor
years.
like that in college. They use the same slides. Here you go.
From 30 years ago.
It's wrong book. It's 15 edition. We're on 80. Right?
Or they're using the thing that with the projector.
That's what he used. I was doing the motion. The projector.
Yeah, projector with the from the 1970s or 60s or whatever.
And it didn't even match our textbook. And like it says, and it clearly says, is
5th
edition.
Copyright 1942. This is
But essentially, you need to make sure that it's someone that's also evolving and continuously learning themselves. And you notice that a lot of the real good mentors also have mentors still, even though they're teaching and they're whatever you want to call them, gurus, senseis in their fields. They still have mentors helping them in different facets of their lives. So it's super important to make sure you do your homework behind. Are they really still doing what it is that they're teaching you?
Like, I'm not gonna lie. I went to some of the, and I think a few people got caught up in this when I used to watch a lot of HGTV, and that's what got me intrigued too. And plus, going to these conferences, business conferences, everyone was in real estate. I go, we gotta get in on this. And yeah, the HGTV things, and then you see a lot of these pop-ups were coming up where they were using a celebrity name. Yep. I'm not gonna name them, but they were using celebrity name, but they weren't at the conference, and it may be. They're just leveraging their name to get people in, and they pay. I get that now, but people get caught up into that, and I don't want that. I want someone that. And I remember actually asking you if I'm working with a mentor. I have a fitness coach, and I have their number and their text or whatever, my personal, and I have you. the mentor that I'm working with, if you're on stage and you're preaching this, I want your phone number, I want your email that I can connect with you, and you're teaching me directly, and not someone using a celebrity name. And there's many of them using a celebrity name, and the people are just using that name just to get people in there.
Right.
Yeah.
So access is important. Making sure they're actually not only preaching it but and teaching it, but doing it as well, and evolving with the times. Because I've not done the same year. Like the event that I do this week. In fact, you were at one of my last events, and I added new stuff to it.
Well, I came to it because I know some of the.
You were outdated.
Well, I know some of the
information.
they're talking about this. I'm like, what do you talk about at that place? Like, I haven't attended one of your 3-day events in, I think, 5 years.
Yeah.
And I came last month, and it was, holy shit, this is totally different.
Not even the same thing.
Now, it's information that I know, but you do it in those 3 days now, right? And it is different. I think my wife came to one of your other ones, just the Success Reflex, where you learn how to, talk with the sellers and the brokers.
And even that's different.
And she went to one. She came stoked. She was like, yeah, whatever, this is good. And then I came to one of them, and I go, yeah, it was cool, whatever. And then we both came to one of them years later, and Linda's looking at me. She goes, "This is different. Are we in the right one, Marco? What are we talking about?"
It's different.
It was different, and that's what I like it about it. It's evolving, almost like what we talk about our paperwork.
Yeah.
It's evolving as we go.
It has
It's live. Like this shit's live.
If you're not growing, you're dying. And every time I do an event, I think of ways to improve it. How can I make? And again, I'm not trying to sell myself here. Look for someone that is constantly trying to get better to help. This is going to be the big underlying factor that really cares about results, not just about how, like, I'm not cheap. I'm not cheap at all. To work with me on a project, it could be $150,000 just for one project. For me to mentor you, hold your hand, and make sure that a deal closes. But if you're making $1 million a year for the rest of your life, and it's an investment of $150,000 to make sure that you never use your own money, it's done in a proper way, the due diligence is done right, and everything is perfect. For you as insurance, would you invest $150 to make $1 million?
That's an interesting point because you use the word invest, and I think there's a common misconception. I think even I had it, in my earlier days, where hiring someone to mentor you is a cost, and because that's really the first thing you see, right? When you get in there, you listen to a mentor speak, and you're like, okay, well, that's pretty cool, and I want this, and then the cost comes first before you actually get to do anything. So that's why everyone sees this as a cost. But when you start thinking about it, why is it that it costs this much? It's because it probably costs them, 50, 60, 70 times more just to learn the lesson that they're going to teach you, and they're teaching it to multiple people. And at the end of the day, like Marco just said, whatever you're going to pay for mentorship, if you've done your homework on the mentor properly, you're going to reach these results if you do the work. So you have to be coachable. Was one of the traits that you need to have. So basically, you can't go into a coaching or into a mentoring program without being ready to make changes in your life. Because the reason you're not where you want to be is because you don't have the right information, or what you know now has not been able to get you to where you want to be. So this is sort of the fast track to this. I mean, if you want to be a lawyer, you go to school and get your law degree so that you can go practice law. Yeah, from other lawyers. Yeah. If you want to be a cook, you're going to go to cooking school and learn from other cooks. So if you want to be, in our case, it's real estate professionals or investors, and with a lot of time on our hands, well, then you got to learn from someone who's a real estate professional with a lot of time on his hands. A
real estate investor, someone that invests in real estate, not necessarily a real estate agent. There's a big misnomer.
Unless you want to be an agent, right?
If you want to be an agent, learn from an agent. Correct. Just because you're a real estate agent doesn't necessarily mean that you're a real estate investor. Mm-hmm. There's a huge difference. One makes a commission putting two people together. The other one is actually buying the real estate. And I'm not saying that real estate agents can't help you, but the things that I teach are not taught in real estate school. In fact, they're not taught anywhere. I haven't learned this from someone else. It's been by being in the field and making the mistakes and getting beaten up and, getting a lot of arrows. Next thing is by the way, everything that you read on the internet is true. Remember that. The challenge with the internet is that anyone can post anything about anybody without any impunity. With the freedom of speech, you can basically write anything about anyone, and it's really hard to determine what's actually true and what's not true. Some have phenomenal experiences with a mentor, and some have terrible experiences with a mentor. The question is did they do the work? Did they, did they put in the effort? Did they get the right, did they do their part? This has happened with me. I'm not going to do anything for anyone. My job is not to do it for you, ever. I have 10 things, I have 10 rules, and my last rule is if you think I'm going to do it for you, you're an idiot. And you have to kind of sign off on that when we work together. My job is not to do it for you, it's for you to do it yourself. And I've had a few years ago, I had a mentee that wanted me to do everything. I told him no, and I was on the news over it. And, it was spun in a way where it made me look like a bad guy. And I'm okay with that. I've accepted those terms. I've accepted the fact that I'm going to get arrows, and I'm okay with it. Find out from actual students, if you want to work with a mentor, talk to some of the students that, ask for references. I have 200 testimonials plus of people that are constantly doing deals. We just had a call today with someone that just has 3 jobs. I think I've discussed this person on other episodes, is working 3 jobs and just got a contract again, right?
Yeah,
Another contract.
Yes, in Illinois.
On 2 properties, 2
so
6
happy
units.
for her. So there's no excuse. And like you said, there's no excuse if you want to get into it. This is a girl that works 3 jobs, and I thought she was joking. I was a little bit hard on her. Like, what do you mean you can't find time or whatever? Anyone can find like a half hour, 15 minutes. She was frank. I literally work 3 jobs. She works like close to 18 hours a day, which is insane.
And still
Getting this through. And she's actually this one's already, she's got it on the contract. It's a 12 units, 2 6 units, but she's also got another 2 cooking.
Yeah.
One's a hotel and one's a mobile home park. So this could be a stellar year for her. And she realizes, you know what? The more I get at this, we're holding her hand on this, and I really hope she gets it. I think she's going to get it.
And what's more important is this didn't happen overnight. This is just a compounding of these 15 minutes she's been putting in for, at least a year here in her case, because it's limited time. Obviously, if you put in an hour every day, you're going to get there faster. If you put in 15 minutes, everyone's going to get there. It's just depending on the pace.
But she's doing the work.
But she's doing the work, and it's consistent.
So she's doing the work. So what happens is once you know that knowledge, it's like riding a bike or whatever, you can continue doing it.
Correct.
We'll help you put the bait on first, initially on your rod, and where
We'll
to
teach you
cast
how to
it,
do
whatever. We'll teach you that. We'll hold your hand. We'll help you reel one in. And once you get 1 and 2 in, then you get educated and knowledge on the process, and that's the whole important thing. But yeah, for lazy people, they don't want to do it, and some people are like that. They're like, no, I expect. They don't want to do the work because they felt that they make that investment or that cost, if you want to call it. And they're like, well, no, for that cost, you should be doing this.
That's the commitment.
Or it should be
fee.
easier for me.
And the fee is more for you than it is for us.
Yes.
Let me be clear on that, because, like I said, I'm not cheap at all. Both of these guys know this. They put both 100K plus into mentorship in my program, and that means commitment. When you put in, and they're not always 100,000. We have $25,000 programs, we have $50,000 programs, $150,000 programs, and I have a $500,000 program. I have lots of different programs based on the level of commitment that I'm looking for. And when I say that, now again, not everyone's going to be at my level as far as cost goes. You might find a mentor that's $5,000 and you think that's a lot of money. The question is at $2,500 or $1,000 or whatever the investment is for someone to help you do something. If it's too cheap, you're not going to take it seriously. Number one. Number two is it's easy to quit. If you put in $100,000, we're meeting at 8 months later. Why don't we have results? Which is the right meeting. That's the right kind of meeting. I had someone that was pissed off at me from something that happened 4 years ago. They started, they fell through the cracks, they held it in for 4 years and they never communicated with me. I wasn't the one working with them. Someone that was on my team before was, and they reached out to me super angry. We had a conversation yesterday and we're good. Like, we're re-engaging, and my level of commitment is not time-based. It's result-based. So make sure whoever you're using has the same level of commitment that you will, which means that if you can't do something within a year, like, a lot of these things are year-based or 2 years or however long.
There's a timeline to it.
There's a timeline. Well, what happens if something happens? Like, what's going to happen? Will you still work with me past this time? If the answer is no, they're coin activated like a parking meter. I believe then that the commitment is more on like a parking meter. They're coin activated. I don't need the money. No matter what I get paid the same every month. I get a draw from my properties, and I get the same amount every month. If I make $1 million in a month, or I make $2 million in a month, I make the same. And that's just how I've set up my life. So I have some stability, and I don't overspend because I can do that. I'm really good at it. So no matter how many mentorship students I have or don't have, I'm going to show up every single time and help as many people as I can. So my draw is the same no matter what. So it doesn't affect my life no matter what happens. But if someone is investing in themselves and putting up some money on the line, I'm going to show up, you show up, and we're going to help each other. And I said help each other because I actually get a lot of help from my mentees as well. Now, these are both mentees of mine. They started off as students, and they have we got into a deal together. Incredibly good work ethic. They're not blame oriented. If something goes wrong, we all take responsibility. It was a really good business relationship, a good mentee relationship. They showed that they love helping others, and I took them under my wing to be able to help others as well and help me mentor. And how much do you learn as well?
Oh my goodness!
By mentoring, I've learned.
Fast forward.
I have probably 500 years of experience because of all the people that are on my schedule. They all make different mistakes, and then you learn from those mistakes, and then that gets compounded every year. So I have hundreds of years of experience, and you guys are learning this, and we communicate constantly on new things that we learn. It's a collective, and we always want to grow and help as many people as possible. And that's the kind of thing that I think you should be looking for in a mentorship program. Is do they care enough to want to improve themselves, which you discussed earlier, and are they going to be there when the chips are down?
Yeah, you know what? I'm glad you brought that up, and yeah, helping other students for me has been very rewarding, very educational, because we bounce shit off each other. I bounce things off the students. Hey, I know you had that scenario. How did that work out? Whatever. And then he tells me, I'm like, oh my goodness, let's share this with others. But I like that do you have a small boutique? I like the boutique thing because everyone knows it. It's a community.
It is.
It is a community. So yes, I am a student, and I am helping others, other mentees.
I'm a student too.
We're always students.
We're always students in life.
I don't have this ego where ask these guys. Like I'm still learning as well.
But doing that and talking to others within our community, it is rewarding. And yeah, we just pick each other's brain and how we can do this and overcome obstacles that we never encountered. And like you said, you got 500 years worth of knowledge in the amount of years that you've been doing this. Obviously, you're not 500 years old. If you do, you're using very good cream for all your wrinkles and shit. But
what wrinkles?
Oh well, there's no wrinkles. Yes. You always say you have vampire blood
on my mother's side.
Yeah, on your mother's
twice
side.
removed.
But having that boutique, having that community, that's what I like. When we see each other at events, it's like a family.
It is.
We're hugging today, whatever. So I like that intimacy, if you want to call it intimacy. But
slow down, buddy. But what should they be looking for? Let's we know what our experience is, and what we're looking for. I wanted to create a family environment where it's routed in love and servitude. We want to serve each other. We want to help each other. It's not how much can I take. It's how much can I give. And there are different levels of commitment into that. And again, it starts with you committing into something and not having the ability to really burn your chip. Are you really committed, and are you willing to hold yourself accountable to getting these results? And if you are, you will get there. I don't think we have one person. I've never had a person go through my mentorship program that's worked hard and not gotten what they wanted.
That's almost foolproof, but it's in general in life. Anybody who works hard to get somewhere will get there. And when you have a mentor in life, it just fast tracks the process because you don't land on all the landmines. You may land on some on the way, but
you should land on some.
Yeah,
as a good mentor,
to avoid.
As a good mentor, I'm going to make you do things like I'm going to make you tie up a property that doesn't make sense. And so you see in due diligence, you learn from that. I'm going to make you go down a path that I know is dark, but you have to experience those things. You don't know if something burns until you touch something, the hot stove. You need to learn experientially the hot stove. Now, you can either I'd rather touch a hot stove than go into a car and have a big, huge car accident. One hurts you, the other one kills you. Mm-hmm. I want you to get hurt. At least that's how I think is the best way to go. Again, you might have a different opinion, and that's fine. We can agree to disagree. But I want you to get hurt, skin your knee. I want you to go through some challenges. I want to create a tough individual that can survive the jungle. Just like, your kids. You don't want soft kids that you give everything to all the time that have no problems, because the world is not a nice place. Everyone wants to take advantage of you. It's the jungle out there, and no one gives a shit about you, honestly, other than your own parents. And sometimes that's not even true.
That's sad.
It's true.
No, I know it's true. I'm just saying it's sad, man.
It is. I'm not trying to create a pity party, but the reality is you want to be able to handle yourself when you're out in the real world, and that's my job as a mentor, is understanding and realizing who are the right people to align yourself with. What should you do in a terrible situation, because you've already been there. And I'm looking over your shoulder going, this is what we do. And then when it gets to a point where you are going to drive off the cliff, I can hold the steering wheel and save the situation. So what other traits do we want to look for in a mentor? What are the things that people should really keep an eye on?
Again, for me, like I mentioned before, someone that's actually doing what they're preaching, and someone that's going to be there to almost like a driver's ed, where they have the brakes on their side too when you're doing
a steering wheel.
And a steering wheel. So they're gonna steer you. They're gonna make you do the mistakes, but when it's gonna to get hurt is one thing, but to get killed is another, right? Mm-hmm. I want someone.
I agree. Not the same thing.
I want someone. Well, listen. I want someone that's going to give me accountability. Give me a plan.
Kick you in the ass.
Let me fall where I need to fall, and I think that's important.
Yes.
Because then you don't remember it. If and that's why I guess you have that theory where we have to sign off on the affirmation that if you think you're going to do it for us, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
And I think you need that in people. So you need someone that's determined. So you got to be determined. And you got to be focused. And when you have those two things, that's a very powerful thing to change when your head's focused and determined. But having someone to here's enough information. I think for me also, you don't want to overwhelm someone with information. So here's enough to get going. You know they're going to fall, and that's okay. But you help them get back up and continue going on that journey. But the accountability is like, hey, did you do this, Frank? No, I did it. Well, you know what? You got to do it again.
Don't call me until it's done.
You got to do it again. So there's times that I wanted to. I would have punch you, whatever.
You're better for it today.
But I was like, shit, I got to do it again, man. Because I wasn't listening, right? And I wasn't following and not listening. Like I hear one thing, but I'm interpreting something else, and doing it over and over. The repetition, I guess that's part of it. That's part of learning things. It's repetition. Right?
Another trait I think is important for you to look for in a mentor is someone who maybe complements some of your weaknesses. So we each have strengths and weaknesses. Identifying each is super important as a first step, in my opinion. But I know that in my case, I'm a CPA. Obviously, math is one of my stronger skills. Analytical skills is one of my stronger skills. But maybe speaking to sellers in the right way was something that maybe was a weakness of mine. There's other parts that I kind of needed work on and refining, specifically the real estate industry as an investor and how to make money in real estate was something that I thought I knew, but that was evidently a weakness because I made mistakes that were extremely costly, and that's when I realized that this is a weakness of mine. So finding someone who could complement that for you is going to make you a complete individual at that point, and you'll be unstoppable.
Well, that's the same thing. Is show me. Don't just tell me. And I think going back to what you said, being comfortable. I was never comfortable talking to. I'm comfortable talking to people.
You're comfortable talking, that's for sure.
I am, but I'm not comfortable talking to people where I am. I was never shy.
Nope, we can tell.
Or whatever.
No problem. His tongue works great.
Put me in front of 25,000. I'm okay with it. But with an intent purpose to speak with brokers and agents, we're basically going back to don't just tell me, show me your seller calls. Those are live calls, and I always tuned in religiously on the Tuesdays.
I don't think you ever missed one.
I don't think I still don't miss them because I do some of them.
Yeah,
right?
you actually do some of them. Yeah,
So-
and that's every Tuesday, by the way, 9 p.m. Eastern. That's New York time, and it's a free program, and you guys can listen in to us talking to sellers and then really explaining why we're saying what we're saying, what strategies we're going to be using, and how we make millions out of thin air.
Yeah.
Like out of thin air, just by communicating in a specific way and having the sellers beg us to take over their property at huge discounts. It's marvelous, and you really should not miss this program. It's really, really powerful.
And actually, Linda, my wife, she's the type of person, if I could speak with her, she's like, don't just tell me to say this. She wants to know why you're saying it.
Yeah.
And the way you dissect, like you pause the call, and the way you dissect, I'm saying this because of this. And it's like, okay, got it. So it's the reason why you're saying it and putting that all together. It's don't show me, don't just tell me, show me. That's what I would look for in a mentor. Exactly what you're doing. So.
Yep.
I think we got some good nuggets here.
We sure did. And again, I'm not for everyone. I'm not everyone's cup of tea, and that's fine. But I really believe you should find the best possible mentor that you can't afford. And the reason I say you can't afford it is if you stretch, if a mentor generally it costs more, it means in most cases that they're worth more, allowing you to make a much bigger leap in what you're looking for, the bigger the change. So the bigger the pain, the bigger the change. And if none of these guys could really afford me, right? It was, you had to borrow the money, find the money, scramble for the money.
Yeah.
And you were committed at that point. And that commitment allowed them to generate way more money. In fact, your investment,
Oh no,
millions.
It's
millions.
It definitely paid itself off.
Yeah, it's
That's-
millions.
Multiple times.
Millions and millions. So that small investment has generated millions. And it's not that I did the work, they did the work. I can't take the credit at all. Frank did the work, Gabriel did the work, and as many of my other mentees, they did the work. I can't take any credit. I'm not looking for credit. My function is not to get credit, it's to make sure that they learn what they need to learn and apply what they need to apply in order for them to get the results that they're looking for. And that's something I actually want to discuss before we end is like, why don't you just take a piece of someone's deal? Why wouldn't I just mentor anybody and then just take a piece? Like, I can't tell you how many times on Facebook I'm like, teach me, and I'll give you 10% of my deal, the first 3 deals. I got that the other day.
Yeah.
Mentor me for free and I'll give you 10% of my first 3 deals. What's wrong with that?
Well, you don't need them to get a 10% of a deal.
Well, I'll do it myself and get my own deal.
Get 100%.
So
of it.
you
Again, they don't
do
have-
I know
it's like
what's
anything
their
else.
commitment?
They have no skin in the game.
What's their
I'm sorry,
commitment?
It is what it is. If when you don't have skin in the game, you don't have that determination.
No.
And when you don't have the determination, you don't have the drive. And
chances are you're
you're
not
gonna crash
do
and burn it, or you're not gonna do it.
But that usually comes from a person who still doesn't understand that time is the most important currency we have. And it starts with that.
Yeah. So it is what it is. So understand that no commitment, there's no change. And that's what it is. No one's going to do anything for you unless they see that you're committed. And bust your ass, get committed, and get a great mentor.
That's right.
And I implore you to get a mentor.
You have to have a mentor.
And get a few. You don't have to have one.
Yeah.
Learn as much as you can. The more you learn, the more you earn. And that's it is what it is. So anyway, hopefully there's some good nuggets there for you. I enjoyed this.
I did too. Yeah.
Get yourself a mentor ASAP. Talk to you soon.
If you like this episode of Big Fat Real Estate Checks, then show some love by leaving a comment and a good rating. Also, as a thank you for tuning in today, we've got a special free gift. The journey to passive cash flow for a life starts by finding deals, and it's easier than you think. Simply go to getdealsbytuesday.com, enter your email address, and we'll send you a free quick start course called Deals by Tuesday. Even if it's 11 p.m. Monday night, this course will show you how to find discounted real estate deals by Tuesday. It's that fast and simple. Go to getdealsbytuesday.com and start your journey toward life-changing cash flow today. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode.